continue to share. श्रीवत्सवंशकलशोदधिकौस्तुभस्य श्रीवासराघवगुरोस्तनयं ततश्च विद्यावाप्य विबुधोत्तमतां दधानं पूर्वे सदा हृदि गुरुं करुणाकराख्यं लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयां न मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये मातापिता योतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वय भट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसारकुलशेखरयोगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणुपरकालयतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यं श्रीमान् वेङ्कटनाथार्यः कवितार्किककेसरी वेदान्ताचार्यवर्यो मे सन्निधत्तां सदा हृदि. We were looking at what the jivatma is not, how it is not, and how it is a doer. So we differentiated in the previous lecture about how the jivatma is different from jada and from Ishvara. And we saw how it is a doer. Today, we will continue from where we left off about the doership of the jivatma. We will look at the subtle nature of this doership that was discussed in the previous lecture. It has already been said that jivatma is a doer. The jivatma has been called karta. Karta shastrarthavatvat. Vyasa says to his shishyas who are listening to him, he is sitting under the badari tree and is therefore known as Badarayana. So in the Vedanta Sutras, which are sometimes called Badarayana Sutras or Brahma Sutras, more popularly, he says Atma is Karta because otherwise the Shastras will not make sense. How do we understand this statement? Whether Jivatma is Karta or not, should this depend on whether Shastras make sense? Whether or not Shastras make sense, the nature of Jivatma is supposed to be a reality. The Shastras are supposed to be something that is handed down to the Jivatma by Paramatma, who knows the nature of the Jivatma already. Isn't that how it should come? Where is the conflict? Firstly, the karta that is said there, it is referring to Jivatma, not Paramatma. But Paramatma is also karta. Paramatma is karta for so many things. In one way, Paramatma is the karana. We saw in the previous lecture, right? So as a simple example, if I'm writing something, what causes something to be written? The ink is flowing through the pen. The pen is moving. The hand is holding the pen. My entire body is there. So a part of my body is having the control, the brain, that is giving commands to the hand. The brain is controlled by the mind. The mind is controlled by the Atma. This jivatma is in turn made in a state where it can operate only because of Paramatma. So Bhagavan, who is Antaryami inside me, he is the one without whom I cannot operate. Therefore, I could say that he is writing. This is one way to argue. Ultimately, he is only doing. What are you doing? You are doing nothing. In Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says, "Oh Arjuna, what are you doing? Don't think you are killing others. Nothing is really being done by you. Everything is being done by me." Sounds correct, right? Because we know that in the Gita, Krishna has said this. In the Gita, it appears that Bhagavan has said, "Oh Arjuna, you are not the doer." And likewise, we are able to analyze through actions that we are doing that it is ultimately Bhagavan who is doing. Where is the problem in that argument? Or is there something specific that we should look at inside that argument? That is the first question. The second question. The first question is based on the claim that it is karta. Now the second question is based on Vyasa saying Shastrarthavatvat, because the Shastras have to make sense. I am declaring that the Jivatman are all kartas, doers. How is this even fair? The third thing that we should have clarified is what is really happening? How does the theory of karma work? About this third thing we discussed in the previous lecture. We will revisit it. When we understand how karma works within this framework, the next question will be about good karma and bad karma. In that way, we will be able to proceed. So let us first understand this. The Jivatma is the doer. It should be understood to be the doer. Bhagavan, in Bhagavad Gita, he says so many words. He says Shrunu. He says Kuru. He says Vraja. What are these words? All of these words ask Arjuna to take action. Listen, do. When he says surrender to me, Sharanam Raja, Mamekam Sharanam Raja, Aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. If Krishna is the doer, If he is the one who is doing everything, oh Arjuna, you think you are doing, in reality, you are not doing, everything is done by me. If Krishna is really saying it, think about it. Is there even a necessity of Bhagavad Gita? No, 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 that is not for Arjuna, no. Bhagavad Gita was meant to be an advice for all of us. Oh, is that so? If Gita is supposed to be an advice for all of us, and if Arjuna is not a doer at all in Bhagavad Gita, then we could argue that we are also not doers. Bhagavan is the only doer. If he is the only doer, point number one, there will be no need for him to say, do this, do that. Point number two, there would be no need for any Bhagavad Gita at the first place. He could directly finish everything. So let us understand these two parts. When Bhagavan says that he is the doer, we discussed in the previous class that he is the enabler of everything. But is he always just the enabler? No. When we say jivatma is not the doer, Paramatma is only the doer, we imply that Paramatma is the enabler. But in reality, he is not only the enabler, but also a doer. Are we contradicting ourselves from what was discussed in the previous class? No, we are not. He enables, therefore he is called the only doer, because anything that I do is enabled only by him. He is Sarva Karana Karana. He is Sarva Shariri, and so on. We have seen. For those reasons, even when he is an enabler, we are calling him a doer. But there are times, plenty of times, when he is also the doer. The thing is, he does not do everything. Many things he does, some things he leaves to us. So Bhagavan himself is Karta. When we say that Karta Shastrarthavatvat as per Vishishtadvaita is referring to the jivatma, we are implying that jivatma is Karta. We are not implying, we are not trying to say anywhere that Paramatma does nothing. He does not really do anything. He is only the enabler. So we do not restrict him to the position of enabler. At the same time, we do not say he does everything. There is a distinction. Okay. So what does he do and what does he not do? He grants phala as per your karma. That is something he does. Creation, preservation, destruction. He does all of that. What else does he do? Bhagavan grants moksha. He grants sharanagati and therefore moksha as well. So all of these are done by Bhagavan. He gives blessings. But he has also given some amount of free will. We discussed previously. So as he has given some amount of free will, we understand that He is not the doer everywhere. Some amount of doership is left for us. That doership is what is being discussed. Is it very little? No, it is a considerable quantity. That doership is being discussed in Kartradhikarana. So, the statement Karta Shastrarthavatvat, the aphorism, to be more precise, it means jivatma is the karta. How do you know it is talking about jivatma there? Maybe it is talking about Paramatma, because the sutra itself does not have any mention of which Atma it is. You know it through the previous sutras. They are talking about the jivatma. So before this, in the Brahma Sutras, you would have Jnadikarana, where it is established that this jivatma has jnana. As it has jnana, now the discussion is coming as to whether is it the only doer, or is the jivatma being considered the doer, while in reality only the non-living things are doing. What do you mean by non-living things doing? Very simple. What can the Atma do by itself? Can it walk? Can it talk? What can it do? It can do nothing. Only the physical body can do, but the physical body is non-living. If you look at whatever is being done, maybe only the gunas, sattva guna, rajo guna, tamo guna, we have discussed them before. Maybe only these gunas are responsible for all the activities. And by mistake, the jiva thinks that it is only doing everything. Is it not so? Because some people argued, do you know, it is said in the Upanishads, na jayate mriyate. It does not take birth. It does not get destroyed. In this manner, Kathopanishad, while explaining, it went on to say, hanta chen manyate hantum, hataschen manyate hatam, ubhau tau na vijanitaha, nayam hanti na hanyate. This verse of Kathopanishad is being cited by me so that by understanding what this verse says, we would also understand what Bhagavan says in Gita when he says, you are not the doer, I am the only real doer. What does this verse say? Hanta chen manyate hantu. The killer considers himself to be the killer. Hataschyen manyate hatam. The killed person thinks of himself as the killed person. But in reality, ubhau tau na vijanitaha. Neither of them is aware properly. Nayam hanti na hanyate. In reality, the killer is not killing and the killed is not being killed. So, what is said? There is no such thing as killing and there is no such thing as dying. You think all of these are being done by you, but these are not done by you. This is the statement of Kathopanishad. So, it could be said that jivatma is not doing anything at all based on this verse. In Gita, you can see where Krishna, this is not a part where he is saying, I am the doer, O Arjuna. This is a part before that, where Krishna appears to say, Jivatma does nothing, only the non-living things do everything. What is this? We started with Jivatma doing. We started by saying Jivatma has doership. But now we are questioning it so that we can understand it better. So there is the shloka in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Prakrute kriyamanani gunaih karmani sarvashah ahankara vimudhatma kartahamiti manyate. Look at this. Ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. What is it said? What is it saying? In reality, all the actions, karmani, in every manner, sarvasha, prakritehe gunaihi kriyamanani. They are all done by the gunas of prakriti. Which gunas? Sattva, rajas, tamas, as we said. And therefore, the Atma, by mistake, due to its own ahankara vimudhatma, due to ahankara, it becomes ignorant and considers itself to be the doer. Karta aham iti manyate. It considers that it is the doer. Krishna has said this. Now, isn't this a problem? And remember, Krishna doesn't say just at one place and go away. In the 14th chapter, Krishna has said, Nanyam gunebhyah kartaram yada drashtanu pashyati. The person who sees properly understands that in reality, there is no doer other than the gunas. Na anyam gunebhyah kartaram. This has also been said by him. So, this is looking a little confusing. Should we say that it is this Mula Prakriti which is having all the three gunas and which is manifesting in so many different ways, but itself is non-sentient? Should we say that such a Prakriti is only responsible for all the doership? Maybe we should. Why? Because Bhagavan, who said Prakritehe Kriyamanani Gunaihi in the third chapter, in the 13th chapter, he says Karyakarana Kartritve Hetuhu Prakriti Ruchyate. The cause of all karyas, the doership of all the actions that are done. Your Indriyas perform so many actions. In all of them, the cause is Prakriti. So on one side he said Guna, on the other side he said Prakriti. Is that a conflict? No, not a conflict, because Prakriti has all the three gunas. Okay, but how do we understand it here? We understand it as the jivatma, indeed being a karta, being a doer. Vyasa has clarified. Why? He says, Shastrarthavatvat, because the scriptures have to be useful to us. Otherwise, the scriptures will all be useless. There would be no point in the existence of scriptures. Why should there be any scripture for us if we are not the doers? You cannot argue saying that the scriptures are meant for the gunas, because the gunas are non-living. What advice will you give the non-living? You can give advice only to the living. The scriptures have advices. Okay, but what about all of these verses? Remember, we have to solve this apparent contradiction that non-living things are doers. Then the notion that Bhagavan is the complete doer. Then we should get closer to how it is fair to use the scriptures as an argument to declare about something that is fundamental to the jiva. So let us go one by one. Firstly, it has been said that the jiva is indeed the doer. Vyasa is saying it. He has said it is karta. So we understand that the trigunas are not the doers. The Shastras have declared this person will do this, that person should do that. So when the Shastra says, or when the Veda says, let us say the Veda declares, Yajeta Swarga Kamaha, one who seeks Swarga, he will perform the yajna called Jyotishoma. So this Jyotishoma that is done, who is doing it? Swarga Kama, one who desires Swarga. Or when it says Mumukshur Brahmanopasita. Mumukshur Brahmopasita. One who desires moksha will have to perform the upasana of Parabrahman. Who is going to be desirous of moksha? Are the three gunas going to be desirous of moksha? No, it is the jivatma. Having a desire, whether it is to go to Swarga or whether it is to attain moksha, it is possible only for a sentient being to have a desire. Therefore, these instructions are for the sentient being, that is the jivatma. In this manner, lots of statements exist. So we understand it that way. Shastra is called Shastra for a reason, right? Shasanat Shastra. It gives us orders. What is Shasana? Shasana means making you do something. Bhagavad Ramanuja says, Shasanatcha Shastram, Shasanam cha Pravartanam. Shastrasya cha Pravartakatvam Bodhajanana Dvarena. Achetanam cha Pradhanam na Bodhayitum Shakyam. See, we call it Shastra because it ordains, it tells us, do this, do that. A lot of people say, in Sanatana Dharma, there is no rule. Rules exist only in Abrahamic religions, and religion is a Western concept. In Sanatana Dharma, there is no rule. We reject this claim completely. We say there are rules like Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara. You speak the truth. The Vedas say speak the truth, Satyam Vada. They don't say speak the truth if you like. They say speak the truth. So there are rules. These are shasanas. So it is said by the Shastras that we have to do things. That is why we are calling them as Shastras. What is Shasana? Shasana means making you do something. Shastra gives you that knowledge. I should do this. Why? How do I know I should speak the truth? The Shastra told me. So the Shastra makes me perform an action by granting me some knowledge. It cannot grant knowledge to a non-living being. Non-living beings cannot possess knowledge. Only we can possess knowledge. So the instructions are for jivas only. Okay, then what about the verses previously cited? We saw this hanta chen manyate hantum, everything. What about all of that? See, the jivatma is nitya. It does not have an end. Na jayate mriyate va, right? It cannot be killed. So, killing is something that can be defined only for the body. It cannot be defined for the Atma. The Atma thinks I have killed. The Atma thinks, oh, I am being killed. In reality, You are not killing and you are not being killed. Why? Because you are the Atma and not the body. What is really happening is a transformation to the body. So, neither knows that neither is the killer or the killed. That neither word refers to ubhau tau na vijaniyat. Both of them. Who are they? They are the jivatman. So the jivatma cannot kill another jivatma. That is the concept taught by the shloka. It is not implying that jivatma is incapable of doing anything. Since killing is specifically mentioned there, we should understand in that context only. Okay, what about the shlokas in Bhagavad Gita then? See, when he says that gunas are the doers, he is trying to imply that jivatma, by its very pure nature, is incapable of doing anything. It is under the influence of the three gunas, due to association with the three gunas, and not by its inherent nature, by its inherent swarupa, that the jivatma is able to do anything. So, it is due to association with the gunas that jiva is able to do things. Therefore, the gunas are only responsible for doership. In that way, it has been said by Krishna. How do we know this? Krishna himself has said in the 13th chapter. Krishna himself has said that the cause of good and bad births is the association with the gunas only. So the Atma is the doer, but it does only due to the association with the three gunas, Sattva guna, Rajo guna and Tamo guna. And therefore, depending on which guna it is associated with, the action of the Atma is also understood. Under the influence of Sattva guna, the Jivatma does something good. Under the influence of Rajoguna, it might do something neutral or it might do something bad. Under the influence of Tamoguna, it might become lazy, do nothing. All of these possibilities are there due to the association with the gunas. So, the doer is indeed the Jivatma. It is doing it due to association with these gunas. That should be understood. So, in the 18th chapter, Bhagavan clearly says that the Jivatma is the doer. He in fact says there are several things that Jivatma is dependent on for doing anything. Remember the example we said for writing something. Something is written. You need the ink, you need the pen, you need the hand, you need the brain, you need the mind, you need the Jivatma. We are saying that way, right? in the concept already introduced to us in Sanatana Dharma about how creation has happened, how Prakriti transformed from one type to another, and all of that. There, Bhagavan says, Adhishtanam tatha karta karanam cha prathak vidam. Vividha cha prathak cheshta daivam chaivatra panchama. He says, doership, the jivatma by itself cannot do. It needs the sharira, that is called adhisthana. It needs the indriyas, karmendriya, jnanendriya. I need my hands to do something, right? Like write, for example. So I need the body, I need the hands, I need the pranavayu, because without prana, nothing else will work. The other indriyas will also not work. The Vedas have declared it clearly. What else do you need? You need Bhagavan as well. So, all of these are necessary. So, the Jivatma is doing, but not completely independently out of its own inherent nature, but due to the association with the three gunas. The association in turn came because of its past karma. And due to association with the three gunas, when the Jivatma is doing something, it is doing with the help of the body, the indriyas, the prana in specific, and Bhagavan also. So, in a way, you could say it is not the doer. In another way, you could say it is the doer. But ultimately, it is the doer. It is the karta. In that way, it has to be understood. Okay, now what about those verses where he said he is the doer? Oh, that we covered in the previous class itself. We said he is the enabler. So, like how gunas are enablers in one way, Bhagavan is the enabler in another way. Simple. So, ultimately, Jivatma is the doer. Who is the doer? That part has been now clearly understood. We could go on. Let us proceed and try to understand why he had to say Shastrarthavatvat. Now, Shastras have to make sense. Shastras say that Jivatma is Karta. They imply that Jivatma is Karta. Therefore, we accept that Jivatma is Karta. Is that how you should give an answer? To understand the inherent nature, a fundamental nature of the Jivatma, should I have to take the help of Shastras? Can't you see that you are the doer? You go pick something. You are the doer. Simple. No, no, no. It is the body that is the doer. The Atma is not the doer. In that way, if somebody speaks, you will have to be able to answer it. That is necessary. So, we are trying to establish the doership of the Jivatma where the jivatma's existence itself cannot be inferred directly. Direct perception, pratyaksha, is incapable of establishing all the necessary features that are needed to define the jivatma properly. So just because something is an inherent nature, it cannot be said that you can understand by yourself just by observing. There are plenty of features that cannot be observed, that cannot be understood. We need the help of scriptures for that. The scriptures are there. They have to make sense. The scriptures say, do this, do that. Therefore, as the scriptures cannot be discarded, I cannot discard them as useless. They are useful to me. They are useful to me because they tell me what to do, what not to do. For that reason, I am able to understand that Jivatma is the Karta. This answers the second part of the doership doubt. The third part is karma. Bhagavan is associated with whatever I do. But you say Bhagavan does not incur karma. You incur karma. I need the gunas, I need the indriyas, I need the pranavayu. Yet, the indriyas do not incur any karma. Prana does not incur any karma. The Sharira does not incur any karma. Okay, that is all fine. They are non-living. They cannot incur karma. But if Bhagavan himself says that for the Jivatma to be a doer, it is a partner along with four others. One is the body, one is the Indriya, one is Prana. But the fourth is Bhagavan himself. Bhagavan is sentient, right? So, either you say he is a doer or you say he is the enabler, doesn't matter. If he is enabling me to do punya karma, he should get punya. If he is enabling me to do papa karma, he should get papa. That is only logical, right? The atheists argue. They say, whence cometh evil? If Bhagavan knows that there is evil, all knowing, and if he is capable of this, all powerful, and if he is supremely righteous and compassionate, all compassionate, then he shouldn't have let evil exist. Whence cometh evil? We have answered this before in one of our previous classes, that Bhagavan is not responsible for the choices taken by us. It is because of his compassion that we got free will, and because of the misuse of that free will that we are being evil. But as the enabler, he is also a partner. So shouldn't he be getting karma? Bhagavan says, no, O Arjuna, did you know? Today, a lot of people argue. They say, Bhagavan does not take birth. He only manifests. because Atma does not take birth. But the word birth, janma, how it is used in the scriptures is something that we should look at. Because in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna does not say that he has no janma. He says, Bahuni me vyatitani janmani. So many janmas have been spent by me. I have spent so many lifetimes. Tavacha Arjuna. Yours also. Lots of lives have gone, O Arjuna. So when the scripture speaks, it will say the jivatma has birth, Paramatma also has birth. How do you define birth? We have talked about that before. Getting a usable body, entering into a body, entering into a new body, that is called as birth for the jiva. Whereas for Bhagavan, as per his own will, he decides to take up some form. He pretends to take birth just like a jiva. We call that also as a birth of Bhagavan. Hence Bhagavan says, Janma karma cha me divyam. O Arjuna, my birth and my actions are divine. Don't think I don't have birth. I also have birth. Bahuni me vyatitani janmani. I have also spent lots of lives. And don't think that I am not the doer. I am also a doer. But whatever I do is divine. Janma karma cha me divyam. So, he is also a doer. We said before, right? He is not just an enabler, he is also a doer. So, if he is a doer like me, he should also get karma. No. What he does is divine. That divine karma will not give any karma phala. And Bhagavan himself says, Namam karmani limpanti. He says, O Arjuna, I am not affected by any karma. I neither run after karma phala, nor am I affected by any karma. So, he is the doer. He is also the enabler. But enabling or doing, whenever it is happening in his context, that karma is divine and it carries no karma phala. Why does it not have any karma phala? It does not have any karma phala because Bhagavan does things out of his own will and in the purest way. Whereas we think we are acting completely out of our own free will. But to some extent, we are bound by our own past karma. Bound by our own past karma, we come under the influence of Rajoguna and Tamoguna. Remember, with the association of gunas, the karmas are done by the jiva. So, due to association with Rajoguna and Tamoguna, the jivatma does wrong things. Due to association with Sattva Guna, it does good things. So, for good things, it gets punya. For bad things, it gets papa. So, it gets karma phala. In that way, it is affected. Which jivatma? The baddha jivatma. When we say jivatma gets karma phala, it is to be understood that we are talking about the baddha, one that is bound here, that has not attained moksha, that has never been in the state of moksha. That is to be understood by us. We will continue the discussion by getting into good karma. So we talked about karma itself. Karma does not come to Bhagavan. Karma phala does not come to Bhagavan. You say, I am not the doer, Bhagavan is the doer. You say it 100 times. Sometimes he does, sometimes he enables. But no matter what, he does not get any karma. You only get. Now, whatever karma we do under the influence of sattva, rajas, and tamas, it can only be good karma or bad karma. Laziness counts as bad karma. So if I decide to do nothing, I will just sit lazy or I'll just keep sleeping. If I do things only, I will be bound by karma. No, let me do nothing. You cannot do that way. Because for you to survive, you will eventually have to go eat. You will consume food. To consume food, you have hurt plants, or maybe you have hurt animals. So many things are being done by us. So what productivity is there in life? If there is no productivity, it means that life is evil. That is bad. So some productivity has to be there. Therefore, whether I do something or whether I am lazy, I am incurring karma. If I keep on incurring karma this way, you have set up a system where I will keep incurring karma. And then you have said that you should break free from karma. So what have you done? Hey Bhagavan, you have trapped me inside this world full of karma. And then you are telling, come out of it. What sort of game is this? Okay, I decide. And I start doing good things. I try my best to be sattvic. Ahara shuddhau sattva shuddhihi. Okay, let me get sattva shuddhi. Let me perform everything as well as I can. But then you say, oh, you have done so much good karma. Here is your phala. Take this swarga. You will get swargavasa for 1000 years. After that, you will be reborn. So how is good karma helping? I am bound to get karma phala because of the association with the gunas. But even the best karma phala is not giving me moksha. So should I do good karma? How should we understand this? The Alvars, as well as naturally the Acharyas of Sri Vaishnavism, they have compared even Swarga to a prison only. So we have to understand that Swarga is still inferior, Moksha is only superior. Then why not have a separate system for getting Moksha? That path hasn't been opened by Bhagavan. We will look at that in the next lecture. For now, if you have any question, please feel free to ask. The doership of Jivatma, it is better perhaps to not discuss so much about it. Am I the doer? Am I not the doer? Just take the instruction. You are the doer, but don't think you are the doer. Even that is confusing. If I am the doer, then why should I think I am not the doer? And how will I keep thinking that I am not the doer? I am not the doer, I am not the doer, I am not the doer. Is that the way? Think about it this way. Bhagavan is the doer. Okay, but is that really correct? If I am the doer, why should I say Bhagavan is the doer? Those problems are coming that we are trying to address. So with this, I am concluding today's lecture. If you have any question, please feel free to ask. I will check the chat section as well.
Swami, how Amsa is defined in Vishishtadvaita?
Sorry, how?
Amsa. Like jivatma is Amsa of Bhagavan. So how Amsa is defined in Vishishtadvaita?
For that, you should understand the word Amsha, no? What do you understand by the word Amsha? You said Jivatma is an Amsha of Paramatma. Yes, Vyasa himself says so. Amsho Nana Vyapadeshat. Calling the Jiva as an Amsha of Paramatma is therefore accepted by the Advaitin and the Dvaitin as well, not only the Vishishtadvaitin. So the word Amsha is fine for everybody. How can Shankaracharya also accept it as Amsha? How can Madhvacharya also accept it as Amsha? That means the meaning that they are accepting for Amsha is different. Amsha means bhaga. It means part. Okay. So we are saying that the Jivatma is neither completely different from Bhagavan nor absolutely the same as Bhagavan. But it has a special connection. This special connection is only Vishishtadvaita. What is the special connection? That it is the Sharira, that it is the Shesha. Due to these things, it becomes an Amsha. When you say there is a wall and there is a picture hanging on that wall, when I say look at that wall, it is so beautiful. Why is the wall beautiful? Because there is a picture on that wall that is beautiful. Is the wall the same as the picture? No. But the picture is taken to be part of the wall. And the picture adds glory to the wall, right? It glorifies the wall. So I say the wall is beautiful because the picture on the wall is beautiful. But the picture in reality is not the wall. But it is not absolutely different either. Without the wall picture, wall hanging will not even exist. Correct? If there is no wall, how will that picture be? It cannot be. It cannot be hanging in the air. It has to be stuck to the wall or in some way attached to the wall. So, amsha means a part in some way, not a physical part, but a part in some way. And we are saying jivatma is a part, a sharira component of Paramatma. And when you say sharira, it is automatically implied that it is shesha. The wall hanging is an example of shesha, where the wall is the sheshi. Is it clear? This is the Vishishtadvaita explanation. Calling jivatma as amsha of Paramatma directly establishes Vishishtadvaita. If you say it is the same as Paramatma, it will not directly establish Vishishtadvaita. Vishishtadvaita will be fine if you say it is the same. It will be fine if you say it is not the same. But if you talk about a relationship, if you say Sharira, Shesha, Amsha, these kind of words when you use, you are directly talking Vishishtadvaita there. Is it clear?
Yes, Swami.
Any other question? I don't see any question in the chat section. So let us assume that that is it for the day. Thank you so much for attending.
Thank you very much, Guruji. Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram.